really don't think Terminal would be where it is today without all of the open source contributions that we've had. Like, all the cool features are from community members. We just get it working, and the cool stuff is not from us, in my opinion.
Hi, my name is Hayden Barnes. I'm an engineering manager at Rancher Labs, now part of SUSE. I lead the Windows on Rancher team.
Hi, I'm Kayla Cinnamon. I'm a program manager at Microsoft, and I work on Windows Terminal.
So Kayla, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
So I'm the program manager for Windows Terminal, which includes a lot of feature planning and release planning, as well as doing a lot of the design work for the terminal visuals and what those look like. I'm on GitHub all the time, making sure the community is healthy, where everyone's contributing and having a good time there. So it's basically just leading the terminal project forward and making sure it's successful on all different fronts.
So I lead the Windows documentation and internal DevOps teams at Rancher Labs. That includes supporting Windows containers on Rancher Kubernetes products, expanding Rancher documentation, and maintaining our internal development infrastructure. I help those teams develop and execute on strategy and improve the overall experience for using Rancher for developers and our customers. You mentioned part of what you do is the user interface for Windows Terminal. That's part of your background, right?
Yeah, so I went to school for information technology, and I specialized in human-computer interaction. So I did all of my studies on UI design and how to make user interfaces more usable and friendly for all kinds of users. So that came into play when I joined the terminal team, because there wasn't a UI when I started. So I helped bring that forward and create what the UI looks like today. And then now I continue to add new things, such as with the settings UI.
Yeah, is that what you like most about working on Windows Terminal?
But I think my favorite thing working on Windows Terminal is the community. And when I say community, I mean in like 3 different parts. The smallest being my team. We're all really good friends. We're really close, so it's cool being able to work on a project with all of your friends. And then also the open source community and working with a bunch of people from all over the world on our repository. And then the third part is the user base, the user community. A lot of our users are really passionate about the terminal, which makes it really exciting to work on, because you feel like the work that you're putting in is being well received and everyone's really enjoying it. So it's a really rewarding experience working on terminal like that. So Hayden, how did you get to the role that you're in now? And were you always a software developer, or did you have a different background before?
So I've had a few different jobs over the years. Before I went into tech full time, I was a lawyer. Over the years, I spent time contributing kind of around the edges in open source on Linux, on Mac OS, transitioned into tech full time a bit by accident, by starting a Linux distro that was specifically designed for WSL called Penguin. We put it on the Microsoft Store, and we asked users for $10 to help support us. And within a few months, we all had jobs supporting Penguin. And then after that, it just kind of kept going, and I left my old job behind happily. What has been the most interesting experience you've had working at Microsoft?
I would say Build 2019. We made a really fun sizzle reel of Windows Terminal, which is like a command line app that people are like, oh, like command line's old and stodgy, but we really made it fresh and cool in this video, and it was something really rewarding to work on. So I distinctly remember being in the large hall of the conference center. It was being announced that Windows Terminal was becoming a thing, and they played the video, and sitting in the crowd and everyone just like cheering and clapping was the coolest thing I'd ever been a part of, because I knew what went into making that video and was part of it. And then shortly after that, we went back to the booth and we took the sign that said Windows Console down, and it became Windows Terminal because we had to hide it before people knew about it. And then I had an interview with Scott Hanselman, and I was like, don't ask me anything unless it's about the UI or the video, because I haven't done anything. And I was so nervous, but it was just a really cool experience being able to launch the product and then see it being received really well by the community. And only being on the team for 3 months was really, really cool. And we met at Build also. So you've been to a few Builds, I think. What is your favorite memory from Build?
Yeah, so 2019 just blew me away. That was my first build as well. I got to meet you. I got to meet the rest of the terminal and WSL teams in person. My friend Patrick, who worked with me on Penguin, and I presented on using WSL for DevOps workflows. And the energy of just being together there in the same place at the same time, knowing and WSL 2, which was like the next generation of WSL, that excitement and that buzz. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to when we can return to in-person conferences, because I want that again. I miss that. What's the best piece of advice you've received, or what advice do you have for students or younger professionals who are looking at what you do and might want to do something similar?
More towards students, but I think it applies to everyone, is that everyone has failed at some point in their career, in their academic life. Even myself, like I had to drop out of my second computer science class I ever took because it wasn't making sense to me. Best advice I have is probably just try to stay confident in the things that you know and the experiences that you can bring to that role. And my manager told me, like, just do what you think is right and what you think makes sense, and then we'll just stop you and like pivot you if you're going in the wrong direction. Because I was brought onto the team because of my experience and the way I think about the world and my background. Being confident in the knowledge that you bring and the experience that you bring will really help both the team and the product you're working on, and then also give you that confidence that you know what you're doing and you're meant to be there.
I strongly encourage anyone who's interested in tech to get involved in open source at whatever level they're at, and not to wait. Softer skills about collaborating with distributed teams, how to use tools like GitHub, that kind of lays the foundation for if you eventually, do start actually making code contributions. It helps you figure out where in tech you might, find your place. So maybe you don't actually end up being an individual contributor to a code base, but you turn out to be, you find focusing on, the front end, the UI to be most compelling. Well, getting involved in open source with, a small project is a great way to explore that and figure that out. So what do you like most about Windows 11?
I have a long list. I really enjoy using Windows 11. A few of my favorites would be the new settings app. I think it's really well done. And it's not something that I thought needed improvement, but then once I got the new settings app, I was like, where has this been my whole life? Like, it's so much easier to do like the main settings and things that I do on Windows. So I'm so glad that got a redesign, because that is really, really awesome. Also, I love the themes, the new themes. Because I have my terminal I use, I have an acrylic background, so I like when the theme comes through from my desktop, and the new themes are really clean and so nice. So I'm a big fan of those too. What is your favorite thing about Windows Terminal?
I like how fast it is and the customization level. The experience of customizing Windows Terminal, pro level experience there with split panes, so that I can have my WSL and my PowerShell running side by side. And I've also really enjoyed seeing all the community contributions and community-driven features land over the past few versions. I'm always surprised by kind of what they come up with and what lands, and I'm like, I hadn't thought of that, but that's amazing, and I end up using it. Who is one person on social media everyone should follow right now?
The first person that comes to mind always is Scott Hanselman, because he's kind of like the Mr. Rogers of tech, in my opinion. Also, Jennifer Gentleman is the Windows guru. If you have any questions about Windows, she will definitely know the answer or know who to ask to get the answer.
You stole mine, so I'm going to just double down and say you for all the latest updates on Windows Terminal. You also post about other Windows features. You've got wallabies.
Thanks, Hayden. If you are interested in following me on Twitter, you can find me at cinnamon_MSFT. Hayden, where should people go to follow you?
Well, it was great talking to you too. You can find me on Twitter at Unix Terminal and on GitHub at Sir Redbeard.
Well, thanks for chatting with me today. This has been really, really fun.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.